Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies and comrades, this is Kenya Revolutionary. Karibu sana, karibu sana, karibu sana. This will be a short session. I'll be here for briefly. I'll be here 30% for 30 minutes. Okay, so join me for these 30 minutes if you're able to, whatever you're watching. I know it's probably in the evening or night in Kenya and probably late evening somewhere in Europe. Whatever you're watching from, whether you're watching from Africa, Europe, Asia, Australia, Antarctica, it doesn't matter. Karibu sana, karibu sana. This is Kenya Revolutionary. Now, as soon as you get the notification and you see me live, please, the first thing, order of business is to like the video as usual. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel and you're just seeing me on your timeline and you're wondering who this is, please take a minute and check out my channel, subscribe, okay? Like, comment, and join the community, the Kenya Revolutionary community. Now, briefly, I just want to go over what has happened in Kenya briefly. So far, it seems like Ruto is running out of options. At first, he was in denial. He didn't take the Gen Zs seriously. That's why you could hear it. You can hear the echoes. He's echoing. His puppet, sock puppet, the echo chambers, the likes of Ichungwa, telling us that these Gen Zs are people who eat pizza, stop by KFC, and take Uber on their way to Maandamano. Karibu sana, James Wood, as usual. Karibu. And then the surprise came when the Gen Zs actually went to parliament and wakaingia parliament na wakajisaidia wakakula ugali na nyama and all that good stuff. We saw the video. So that was a wake-up call to the politicians, the Kenya Kwanza ones especially, and also Azimio. The whole political class was shocked and pleasantly surprised by what happened at the parliament. And they actually started taking these guys seriously. And they changed the tune. Some of them started apologizing and doing all sorts of things. Now, when it came the day to invade State House, Ruto took it seriously, very seriously, and called upon the military illegally to, protect himself from the Gen Zs or the Wananchi, let me just say that, the Kenyan people who are mad at this administration, okay? Now, we are just concluding another protests today. And it seems to be, the theme is that this thing is violent. Karibu sana Betsy Akoko. Karibu. Like the video, share, comment, do all the good stuff. So the common theme of this Tuesday's Maandamano, it seems to be being mad by the violence, the burning of cars, maduka ambao zinavunjwa, and, goons robbing protesters. Okay. Now, this tactic now by Mr. Ruto is to paint the majority of the protesters, these peaceful Gen Z protesters, as violent in order to justify bringing in the military and other kind of special forces to come in and brutalize people, arrest people, abduct people, which he has been doing. But he wants to justify that by mentioning, see, look, these guys are vandalizing and robbing people. These are not peaceful protests. That's what his aim goal is. So you see that a lot of guys, there's so many pictures of people getting robbed. In Mombasa, it was terrible. I saw this businessman who shot 3 people, and the Wananchi went after him and vandalized, beat up, wakaban nini yake, duka yake, after he shot those 3 people. So you see, it's a common theme. There's rumors from bloggers, and you can see there's also the narrative is being written now. You can see the most Kenya Kwanza leaning bloggers, the government-sponsored bloggers, pro-government sponsors, are writing that, the likes of Miguna are advocating for a violent protest. That's what they're trying to paint a picture of. They're trying to say that Oh, Miguna is advocating for makelele mizozo. Okay, karibu sana Simco. Babil also karibu. While there's some people who are saying that what's his name? The former governor of Nairobi, what's his name? Ujama Mike Sonko, among others, might be behind these skirmishes. Okay, we also saw at Nairobi, what's it called, where the MCAs go and do business. I forgot. There were people who are said to have been sent by Sakaja to cause chaos. They were actually walking around in Nairobi na marungu and some crude weapons, daring anyone to start some stuff. Okay, they were saying, "Kama, if you don't have a business in Nairobi, please go home." They're walking around with weapons. Okay, Simka anasema hawa majamaa ni criminals and should stop Ruto to stay. Okay, so as you can see, the aim is to paint these protests that started peacefully. Because remember, the first day of protest, the day that they went to the parliament, you remember there were some young people who intervened when they saw people trying to vandalize any shop or any businesses. The young people intervened and said, "Stop. We are not here to vandalize anyone's business. We are not here to destroy any business. We are not here to burn any cars. We are not here to rob anybody. We are here. We are peaceful. We are protesting peacefully." But so far, you see this movement has been infiltrated and now it's turning violent. Another thing too that I noticed is that the so-called face of this movement have different messages. Okay, as of yesterday, I noticed that Boniface Mwangi was talking about Saba Saba, and he was not talking about Mandamano for today's Mandamano. Okay, there were two different messages that he was sending, which some people just say this confirms that the guy maybe a shapewa pesa, because now he was talking about Saba Saba. We are going to have peaceful protests. We are going to tunaenda kutembea na maposta wapi. But the initial schedule of Mandamano, 7 days of, I don't know, I forgot what. Today, Tuesday, was supposed to be the day of Mandamano, but Boniface Mwangi was saying, itakuwa Saba Saba, we shall go to Wapi Park and Jivanji Gardens and just walk around. So you can see that those three, Hanifa, Cairo doesn't even care anymore. He didn't even go to Mandamano. He was posting pictures of himself driving his, Porsche car down in the streets. He doesn't care about Mandamano anymore. He's done. He's a fraud. He's been exposed. And Boniface Mwangi has been giving conflicting reports about the Mandamano. I'll show you all of that and much more. Okay? So again, I'm saying this. The message you can see, the violence that has been happening, people are coming out. There's so much elements. The violent elements of this Mandamano that started peacefully has turned into people going out to cause chaos. And this will give the government justification to intervene, have a violent intervention on this protest by cracking down, beating people, shooting people to death, and continued abductions. This is what Ruto wants. That's why he was very defensive and could not admit that the police forces were actually violating majority of these innocent, peaceful protesters from conducting their constitutional rights to protest and picket. Okay, Rasmanjon is telling easiest way out, blame the protesters. Yes, it is the easiest way to do. Blame the protesters. Betsy Akoko is telling those three are sellouts. They were bribed to betray others. Yes, they are. Yes, they were. You're right. Those guys are, at least Hanifa is not as explicitly exposed as the other two. Cairo is just, in fact, his video of protest, they are calling him Dead Gimaji because he was pouring water on himself and pretending to be tear gas or whatever. hose down. And Boniface Mwangi, now, if you look at his page, he keeps on posting a schedule which does not align with the schedule of the original protest, okay? So these guys are compromised. It's so apparent. There's no even, But again, like I was saying, I was listening carefully to Miguna, and he spoke twice on X Space. I think it was on Sunday and yesterday, Monday. Oh yes, wait, Sunday and Monday, I think. Yeah. Sorry guys, there's noise. Yeah, but Miguna he was giving a way forward what people should be doing next, and he's now becoming this threat to the government. That's why I mentioned this, that the government, especially the bloggers, the government hasn't come out yet directly to speak about, to condemn Miguna, because Miguna was very, he was very right. He was calling for a peaceful protest, okay, and how they can remove Ruto. But you can see most majority bloggers that are aligned with the government are trying to paint Miguna as somebody who is urging people, egging people on to have a violent protest, which is not the message that Miguna was giving. To the contrary, okay? But they're trying to make him yes, Miguna is in Kenya. From my understanding, I think he is in Kenya. And there's a lot of people who are posting, oh, Miguna nasema hizo vitu and is Canada. No. From what I understand, I think Miguna is in Kenya as of right now. He is in Kenya, okay? So, yeah. So you can see this hii campaign, yeah, imeanza kuninio. But you can see, even the Azimio folks came out and they are giving press conference. Of course, Azimio, they're giving press conference because they feel that they lack relevance, because Gen Z has officially taken that position as the official opposition, because Azimio have been rendered useless. I'm saying useless because they don't have a voice. They had their chance to remove this government. They were, but the people came out and they kind of took that spot. The Gen Zs are more active, okay? So they came out and spoke too. But let's look at the tweets very quickly. I said I'll be here for 30 minutes only. I might come back later for another session where I'll invite panelists, and I will bring them in because I want to hear people's views of what happened. I'm hearing right now in Eldoret is basically shut down. The military are on the streets. Sorry, I have my young one crying. The military are basically on the streets. So it's Ruto, Oscar Sudi, aliita watu, wanafanya zile, it's getting crazy. It's getting crazy. But let me read some tweets and show you some videos of what has been happening, has been transpiring across the country, if you will. Let me just show you. Please go ahead and like. Let's have 100 likes on this video. And if you haven't subscribed, if you're going to watch this on repeat, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. If you're watching this for the first time and you're wondering what channel it is, subscribe and like. Let's have 100 likes for this video. Amaniaje. Sir, thank you. Let me show you some videos here. Let me start with the latest tweet from Miguna. This is it. Can you guys see it on the screen? As I share with you. He says, Zakayo, which is that William Ruto, is trembling in the State House toilet. The Americans, British, and the French have abandoned him. They are busy with their elections. The Kenyan military are not with Zakayo. He is alone with Sudi, Farouk Kibet, and a handful of goons. Kenyans only need one what? Sorry, guys, let me finish it here. He is alone with Sudi, Farouk Kibet, and a handful of goons. Kenyans only need one huge push, and he will be gone. Nobody can defeat 44 million Kenyans. Ruto must go. Hashtag Ruto must go. All right. So you can see Miguna is still pushing the push. Robert Alai, you can see Robert Alai. He was, mentioning this about what transpired today. He said, we are destroying this country. What's the protest about now? You don't want meetings and have no leaders, but what are you fighting for? Okay, so you see the narrative. They want to change the narrative. They don't want to maintain this. Let's remove, because right now it was reject finance bill, then it turned into Ruto must go. But people like Alai are still asking, what is this for? Okay, I see Babil says, Ruto ni shetani. Brother Benson Karibu. Brother Benson is saying, yes, brother, it has been infiltrated by goons. Yes, I agree. Lydia Karibu, nice seeing you. Lydia is saying, other than protesting, what is the other legal way to get him out? Impeachment? Yes. Well, apparently Ruto has told us that he will, in the next 10 days, he'll constitute the select panel so we can have a new IEBC. But I won't be holding my breath on that because we know Ruto kona story. So we cannot really trust him. And again, I mentioned this on the last live. I said, let's be very careful when it comes to this whole process of elections. Because I told you, was it Stalin? Stalin was quoted, the famous quote by Stalin. It is not the people that vote that decides an election, but it is the people who count the votes. Okay? It's not the people who vote who determines the winner of the elections. It is the people who count the votes. Okay? So I'll be very wary and very suspicious of this gentleman called Ruto, especially if he's but let's hold him to that. He said in 10 days, I'm assuming 10 days from what that sit down that he had with Eric Latif and Linus and is it Ogoda? Is it Ogoda? Yeah, I think so. He said in 10 days, the IEBC, independent electoral, IEBC, Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission, something like that, okay? That conducts elections, okay? So speaking of legal way, other legal ways of taking him out, impeachment, yeah. So we can start by impeaching these MPs. Already, Azimio came out and said they are going to impeach all those MPs, the MPs that voted yes. So, yeah. Okay. So, Kevin Olo say no negotiations with Zakayo. Ruto must go. Nico Tasia Nairobi. Karibu sana. James Wood say never listen to what Ruto says. Watch what he does. That goes for every other politician for that matter. Yes, you're very right. I won't trust Ruto with anything. Okay. So we can only impeach if we have IBC. Yes, because the impeachment process is kind of like that. If you read it, it's the same as the one in, I think it's Article 145, if I'm not wrong. It's kind of the same as what happened with Linturi, where the whole National Assembly will vote. Then if they vote to go ahead with the impeachment motion, there'll be a committee that will be a select committee of, I think, 11. Again, this committee will investigate to see the grounds if the threshold is met. If he's being come on ataka kumtoa because he hasn't he doesn't meet chapter 6 requirements, or of corruption, or for not following the constitution, this committee will go and investigate to determine if really what's the impeachable offense is actually has met the threshold for him to be impeached. And this is where the 2 million came in. So the 11-man panel are basically the ones that Ruto will bribe. And they'll come back to the house and say, you know what, we've done our investigations and we feel like Ruto, the accusations against Ruto, the reasons, the grounds in which this man is to be impeached is flimsy. So he can continue and be president. So that's basically what happened with Linturi's case. So I would rather go another way instead of impeachment. That's why you see these protests are so it's something that Ruto is scared of, because protest basically is the wananchi representing themselves. They've basically rendered their representative useless. Okay? They are representing themselves directly, expressing themselves directly as a sovereign people. Okay, that's why Ruto is so scared of a popular protest. That's why he's working so hard, probably with people like Sonko and all the other riffraffs, to infiltrate this movement, to make sure that these protesters are painted as violent criminals. That way he can justify bringing in military and using brute force to quell this movement. That's his name. Leader saying because only protests may not work, you get him out, he will not resign. He might be forced to resign if this protest ikiendelea, because number one, the economy is tanking. So the business people are already starting to get agitated. They're like, okay, can we have a solution? Because our business is not going on. Kids are missing school. It's getting chaotic. What can we do? And if it's sustained, they'll turn to the president. I know sometimes it can turn the other way. That's why Ruto is trying to infiltrate these protests and make it seems like it's violent, okay? Using these goons to do all this stuff. So, because the business people will be like, okay, nyinyi watu Gen Z, mnaleta mzozo kwa streets, we are having all this protests cannot work, and then they'll turn against the Gen Zs and say they are being chaotic. But if the Gen Zs remain steadfast and say, no, we are peaceful, we are not going to stop, and anyone that tries to bring izima ukora to our stopisha, like the first Nino protest when we went to the parliament, okay, then it will force Ruto to resign. As you saw, the military are actually with the people. So I won't be surprised. That's why I'm saying the protests, if you have a lot of people, millions of Kenyans come together, peacefully protest, and anyone that is seen robbing anybody, vandalizing any property, burning any property, shall be arrested by the citizens. Okay, so if they maintain the momentum, yes, Ruto can resign. He will be forced to be resigned because all the international community will call him and be like, hey, listen, the people have spoken, you have to go. There's no way he can kill all the 54 million people. It cannot be done. Mary Wilborn is saying, if all 204 MPs are ordered to resign immediately, Ruto will be a lame duck president. With his clock ticking and him limping, he will be forced to step down. Absolutely. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. That's why I mentioned yesterday, there'll be so many things. He has so many tricks in his cards because I told you Ruto is the puppet of the West. And they have so many tricks in the bag, including terrorism, assassinating a big political figure in Kenya. These are things that they can do, that they have in the cards, that they can actually apply to, to derail this popular movement. And it's effective. I mean, with a few people infiltrating this movement, you saw Mombasa, they were burning down houses and stuff in Tuapa and whatever. And all of a sudden, people are talking about, okay, let's retreat. You hear Wakina Hanifa, they're saying, okay, let's retreat. We need to stop the Thursday Day one to see in the Thursday, blah, blah, blah. You see how that's the effect that they want. That's what they want, okay? That's exactly what they want. A limping president, void of cabinet, will fold, especially this one who feeds on claps, dark churches, and empty praises. He will fold. Absolutely. I agree with you. If they can maintain pressure, this man, it will be done. Cooked, done, dusted, done. Finito. They just have to put pressure. But what I would suggest is that for the protesters, if you're going to go out there, we have to be vigilant, be in groups. So mnaweza mkajitetea wakora wakianza kufanya hizi ujinga, we stop them. Just like the first protest that happened. People are watching out for each other, mtu akiumia, whether they're taking the Jamia Mosque or the cathedrals to get help, okay? And anyone ambao alikuwa anajaribu kuvunja vitu, they were being stopped, told, this is not about destroying property. This is about occupying what? Occupying the parliament. And they succeeded. They had a very wonderful, organized, peaceful movement. And you saw how it shook Ruto. It shook Ruto to the core. That's why you see him wallowing and waffling, talking about wanting a dialogue. There's no dialogue, Mr. President. You need to resign. Okay. If we are really being honest, most of the populace you would need for gathering numbers on the streets are the people below the poverty line, which is 95% of Kenya. I don't see it can never be messy. I don't see how it can never be messy. Okay. Yeah, that's true. I re- I expect it to be messy. You know, democracy is a messy business in in general. Democracy is not easy. Just like Churchill said, democracy is the worst form of whatever. But what's the nini, or what's the other? I mean, I'm sorry, I have like a young one crying in the background. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. All right. Nehemiah Nadar, Kevin Olo say, please talk about the increments of speaker and MP salary. Huyu Zakayo anasikia maneno hakwe. Tonight, to this midnight Kenya, I will talk about that later on in this evening. I had to stop this. I have to stop this because I was here. I'll say I'll be here for 30 minutes, and my young one is like really calling me right now. So I have to end it. But do me a favor. Let's get to 100 likes on this. 100 likes. 100 likes. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Then I will speak about that. Kevin Olo, I'll be back tonight. If you're in Kenya, if you're in UK, whatever you are, just whatever time zone you are, just know it will be 12:30 midnight in Kenya. That's when I'll come live again. I have to stop because my young one is there. So I want 100 likes. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, share, comment, and all that. Let us move with speed. He is busy using other means to remain in power. All right, guys, I'll see you guys later. It's been 30 minutes. I'll see you guys later. I'm sorry I have to leave now, but I'll see you midnight tonight, midnight ya Kenya, so we can have a proper comprehensive talk. Okay? Peace and blessings.